Omer Ozkizilcik, a senior security analyst and non-residential fellow at the Atlantic Council. We're hearing a little bit about some of what this transitional constitution contains there and perhaps some of what it doesn't contain. Some analysts, Omer, are saying 5 years is a very long time for a transitional constitution. What's your take?
Yeah, obviously many are expecting something much faster, but this is not in line with the realities on the ground. So Syria, after 14 years of a civil war and over 54 years of dictatorship, will need time to go towards elections, towards a new period and a permanent constitution. It will take time. Because if you rush these things, this is the only chance for Syrians to establish something permanent, and rushing this would be a huge mistake, as everyone has to be involved in the process of writing a new constitution. And for instance, there are still approximately 6.5 million refugees outside of the country who are not partaking in this process. They need to return. There are millions of IDPs living in camps in Syria who do not participate in the political process as of now. So you need to get all of these people involved. You need to have a national dialogue in Syria. You need to have a political process that will lead. And this will take time. In 5 years, honestly, after seeing the situation in Syria, after seeing the destruction there, after seeing how high the poverty is even optimistic. I do think that if they manage this to do in 5 years, that would be a success. And the question is not if they can do it if faster. The question is, can they do it in 5 years? Because Syria has so many problems. The international community has still, in the United States of America in particular, has still not waived the sanctions on Syria, which makes it even more hard.
Now, we know that Syria is a very diverse country with lots of different communities. There is one, the Druze community, members of which are heading to Israel for talks with the Israeli government. Can you just remind us who the Druze are and what they're hoping to achieve in Israel, which hasn't always supported its own Druze community?
Yeah, the Druze are a minority in Syria, a religious minority who lives particularly close to the Jordanian border. And between the Druze in Suwaida and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, there are the regions of Dara and Quneita, which are predominantly Sunni Arab. So there's no direct linkage with Israel. However, that being said, among the Druze community in Syria, there are 3 main religious leaders. They are called Sheikh al-Aqds, Sheikh al-Nawi, Sheikh Jabua, and Sheikh Hajari. While Sheikh al-Nawi and Sheikh Jabua, who represent more the urban Syrian Druze, are very much inclined to work with Damascus and have a good relationship with Damascus and want to be part of Syria. Sheikh Hajari has a relationship with Israel, which he doesn't hide. And Sheikh Hajari is trying to portray himself as the sole religious leader in Suwaida of the Druze. And he is basically the person behind this approach of approximately 100 Syrian Druze visiting the Golan Heights. So not only on the religious field, but also in the military side. So if you look, there are the 4 biggest military factions: Rijal al-Karama, Liwa Jabal, Ahrar Jabal, and Rijal Sheikh al-Karama. These 4 armed Druze military factions are also working with Damascus and are rejecting Israeli interference. That being said, Israel has a policy of portraying itself as the protector of the Druze. But in 2018, when ISIS killed over 200 Syrian Druze, Israel did not protect them. And now they appear that they are protecting them against a threat that is not present. So this is more of a rhetoric and more of an excuse, political excuse to achieve some Israeli gains. And Israel is heavily using the economical angle here as well. The poverty in Syria is well known. It's 90% under the poverty line. And Syria is now offering the Syrian Druze to come into the Golan Heights and work in some jobs that will earn them a daily wage of $70, which is incredible high money for Syrian standards, where some months ago, Syrian state employees would get $20 per month. So $70 per day is an incredible high amount. And Israel is trying to exploit the Syrian Druze for its own political gains in Syria.
Okay, all right. There's so many other things we could talk about, but for now, Omer Ozkizilcik, thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour.